Hello, and welcome to Pardon the Integration, 42 billion reasons to break into the IoT market, where we discuss top trends in the channel today. I'm your host, Katie Bavoso from the Channel Company. By 2025, it's estimated that 75% of the anticipated 55.7 billion connected devices worldwide will be connected to an IoT platform, spanning across all types of markets, including manufacturing, hospitality, education, and retail. With so much growth on the horizon, nothing should be holding channel partners back from capitalizing on this opportunity. But if you don't know where to start, keep listening. Joining me today to discuss this is Eric Hembry, Director of IoT at Ingram Micro. The way the podcast works for those of you joining us for the first time is we have 3 topics with 3 minutes to talk about each. So let's get started with topic 1, the IoT rundown. Eric, first of all, thanks so much for being here. It's great to have you. Tell me, what comes first, the device, the network, the data, or the intelligence? It's very chicken or the egg.
Well, thanks, Katie. Can I answer with none of the above? I would say the business problem comes first, right? If you're not trying to solve for a problem, then you're really just selling more stuff, and selling stuff is really, really hard. I've said for 3 years now that IoT is not a technology sale, it's a business sale. And IoT means something different to each person. So what may be considered high value to one person may fall short with another. But if you start with the business problem, then you can get the mind share. That will drive the solution, which then drives the network, and then the device that's connected to the network that's generating the data, which then drives that intelligence, and then you get the business decisions from there. So if I were to stack rank them in order, that's the order I'd go with.
Very nice. So how are customers using IoT to transform their businesses?
I always say that digital transformation is driven by IoT. So what's really accelerating adoption has been various mandates that have come out over the past couple of years. Another way customers are using IoT is really getting smarter with data. That old cliche saying of data is the new currency. It's true, but companies are also trying to figure out how to get more data. IoT is the logical starting point. So the amount of data that can be generated from a handful of sensors is really exciting to think about. IoT is really helping customers become more compliant with increasing regulatory demands that are out there. So things like refrigeration monitoring and supply chain tracking, that's all better enabled by IoT solutions.
Eric, what innovations are driving demand for IoT, and what markets is this demand coming from?
Yeah, I'd say, the last couple of years now have really brought on a lot of those innovations that were never even thought of before. You think about the need for temperature sensing that we saw a lot of. Now those solutions are evolving into in-store traffic monitoring to identify customer flow throughout a store and generating analytics that way. I'd also say that more secure IoT devices and designs are helping alleviate some of that, initial hesitation when it comes to security. But the biggest innovation in my mind are around the advancements in AI and analytics at the edge. Having a near zero latency architecture and framework is really enabling some exciting solutions in the industrial and manufacturing space. So that's where we're seeing more and more automation and autonomous robots come into play.
That brings us right into topic 2, Eric, IoT and the channel. Where's the opportunity for channel partners today around IoT?
Yeah, Katie, we've been seeing a lot of significant opportunity around extended reality solutions over the past 12 months. So with an ongoing labor shortage challenge, companies have been forced to figure out ways to be more efficient with the workers that they do have. So solutions like remote assist and workflow management have helped companies reduce operating costs and improve working efficiencies tenfold. So, that's why we've really developed our XR practice over the past 14 months, where we've increased the amount of devices that we offer and increased the ISVs that we continue to bring on. So I'd also say that another area of IoT that's a big opportunity are those mandates that I mentioned before. So schools, hotels, hospital staff, they're all being required to have panic buttons on lanyards in some states. Air quality sensors are being required in some schools. So all of these mandates are solved for by IoT.
Well, Eric, it sounds like there's no shortage of demand and opportunities for IoT. So what's holding channel partners back from selling IoT today?
I feel like it's a lack of a jumping off point for many. There are a number of channel partners being incredibly successful with IoT and driving true digital transformation with their clients. But it's just a fraction of the overall channel that's doing 90% of the IoT revenue that's out there. So there's a massive market opportunity for those partners still looking to get started. End user adoption of IoT is living up to the expectations and market outlooks, but partner adoption is still lagging in some areas. So, there shouldn't be this perception of huge companies working directly with the large OEMs on these crazy cool solutions. So why should they even bother? But there is. So when in reality, there's an even bigger portion on the smaller underserved areas of the channel that still need to be addressed.
So let's try to give them a little push off that jumping off point. How can partners transition or expand into the IoT market?
Yeah, Katie, I always like to look at MSPs as an example here. So I was actually just speaking to one the other day, and I asked him how he would increase his revenue if he were to stop adding new clients to his list. And he said he'd have to wait until they organically grew and added more endpoints for him to manage. So I said, what about increasing the amount of endpoints you can manage exponentially overnight? So naturally, his ears perked up a little. So I went on to explain that all the endpoints he was managing today have one thing in common. They all have IP addresses. So I said, what about adding an IP address to a door or a window so your customer knows if one was left open on the weekend, or a roof access hatch where somebody could be breaking in, or a sump pump that's right next to the server room so you know if there's potential for a flood, or helping out customers better solve for regulatory compliance challenges like that temperature tracking of their refrigerators. So those are all very measurable and highly valuable things that they could be adding onto their services offerings. All it takes is just asking the right questions.
Absolutely. Some very good advice there, Eric. That brings us into our final topic, Ingram Micro and the IoT opportunity. Question one in this last topic: what investments has Ingram Micro made to help channel partners grow faster and do more when it comes to selling IoT solutions?
Sure, Katie. We've had a dedicated IoT business unit for over 3 years now, and we continue to grow and add more resources with top talent. So that's one area of investment. The other is around thought leadership and business insights, which we've done through content creation and our IoT website that was launched in 2019. We've also invested in our XR programs, like I mentioned before. So XR, it needs to be experienced. So that's why we've created our own demo program so that partners no longer need to purchase their own unit. They can borrow a demo for free and then take that to their customer to shorten the sales cycle. So we've also launched our Center of Excellence in Irvine, where we demo several IoT solutions broken out by vertical. So there's no shortage of investments that we've made over the past few years.
Eric, Ingram Micro recently launched its Center of Excellence around IoT. What can partners expect as part of this new center?
Well, I mentioned the solution showcase with working demos where partners can come in and see these solutions in action. We also have our IoT lab where engineers are busy working on certifying devices for Azure plug and play, stress testing solutions for our vendors and partners, and designing new solutions for the market. As soon as we get COVID under control, the plan is to have in-person events there. So we've got the executive briefing center to host meetings, and it's just a really great space for partners to see IoT in action. But since we're not hosting visitors just yet, we did create a virtual walkthrough of the center, which can be found on our website, which is just iot.ingrammicro.com.
Last question for you today, Eric. How can partners get started in IoT with Ingram Micro?
Sure. Well, I did mention the website, but really the true value comes in a conversation with us. I always urge partners to set up a meeting with my team so that we can better understand their unique business model and what's important to them. IoT isn't a one size fits all for everyone. It's very specific to each partner, which is why we really tailor our approach to each partner specifically. So the best bet is to call us or email us or reach out on LinkedIn if you want. So whichever way works for you. From there, we look to really dig into your existing customer base and the services that you're currently offering your customers. We'll look at any mandates impacting your customers where IoT would be an easy conversation. But at the end of the day, we're looking for a small starting point, something that's easy to speak to. We'll train your team on how to position, set you up with brandable materials, even run BI to show you which of your customers are the perfect fit for a specific solution. So we do all of this for all of our customers who want to find that starting point in IoT.
Eric, thank you so much for your time today. And of course, thank you at home for joining us. Before we go, I'd like to list my 3 takeaways from today's discussion. 1, Accelerated digital transformation over the last 2 years drove demand for IoT devices that isn't slowing down. Now is the time to get started in this market space by solving existing business problems with IoT. Two, if you need help breaking into the IoT market, Ingram Micro can help you identify opportunities and use cases that already exist within your reach. And three, Ingram Micro has already made investments in the channel with an experienced, dedicated IoT business unit, an IoT lab, and a new center of excellence to help partners understand IoT and how to better sell it to your customers. Once again, thank you for watching or listening to this episode of Pardon the Integration, 42 billion reasons to break into the IoT market. I'm Katie Bavoso. Take care.